Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the foundations of drawing and how to build value using pen. It's one of the most valuable skills that you can possibly learn as an artist, because pen, you can't erase it, you can't smudge it. We're going to see the difference too, because we're going to start with smooth value with pencil and what that looks like, and then we're going to go into some of these indirect techniques. These techniques work with pencil as well as a way of building up value, but they're really great with pen as a way to build up the value without the ability to smudge it out with either a Kleenex or a tortillon stump, or in this case, your finger. So you've printed off your sheets, and to be able to glue them into your sketchbook, the first thing you'll have to do is trim them. All right, so now we have our first sheet. What you want first is a pencil. Really, any pencil will do. When I'm doing sketching, I would like to say that I'm always using a whole range of pencils, because pencils come in different softness and hardness. All I'm using is this. You can get a lot of versatility out of just these regular old HB No. 2 pump pencils. I love them. So let's talk about percentages. When we're doing these value scales, always on the right-hand side, you want your 100% value. This means this is the darkest square. So usually what I do is I set a timer and say, okay, I'm going to color for exactly 60 seconds. I'm not going to make you watch me color for 60 seconds. Through the magic of editing. Okay, so that's been 60 seconds. Now what's nice is always on the right hand side, we're going to have our least amount of value, or 0% in this case. That means that we want about 50% in the middle square. And so I'm just going to start by building up the value in one direction and then going the opposite direction. Then I'm going to make the next one a little bit darker. And a lot of this has to do with pressure, but it's also how many times you physically color over the surface. So this one I've colored over 3 times, this one I colored over twice, this one I'm going to color over 4 times. 4. So you can see it goes from very dark to a little bit darker, or a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. Now this one I went over twice. This one I'm going to use about the same amount of pressure, but I'm just going to go over it once. And this one I'm going to go over once, but I'm just going to lighten up my pressure so it's even lighter. You're going to write the definition: changes with layering and pressure. Now you can also take your finger, preferably with a Kleenex, or you can use a blending stick or tortillon stump. So here I have a Kleenex. Wrap this around your finger. The reason that we don't use our fingers is because the oils in our hand will actually make it so that if we want to erase, we can't do so, because the oils in our fingers will actually trap the graphite to this paper. This can be something that you want to use intentionally sometimes, but not today. But that makes the edges a little nasty, so I can either take a big eraser or just the eraser on my pencil if I still have it, and just draw back in the edges. Because remember, we say this a lot, an eraser is not for getting rid of mistakes. It's a drawing tool. And don't use your hand to wipe it away. It'll just make it worse. Take a paintbrush, old makeup brush if you have one of those kicking around, and just brush that off like that. Left-handed people, you'll feel this struggle way more. If that bothers you, what you can do is take a scrap piece of paper, and as you're coloring with your left hand, just use the scrap piece of paper, and then you won't get the graphite building up as you draw. Just a quick tip for my left-handed friends. All right, so let's talk about building up value with what's called hatching. Hatching is so magical. It's very easy to do. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is write parallel lines. P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L, lines to build value. And we're going to start with just some easy numbers. So we're going to do 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, and 320. So the first one, you're going to draw 5 parallel lines. 5. The next one, you're going to do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The big thing you want to remember with hatching is they have to always go the same direction. It's okay if they get pretty close to touching, but what you don't want to do is go the opposite direction or to change directions so they're touching like this. You want them always going the same direction. So the next one is 40. 40. Then the next one's 80, and really count. 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 80. The next one's 160. All right, 160. And then the last one is really 320. So what you can do is break that up into trying to do 40 in each pass, trying to do 60 in each pass, trying to do 80 in each pass. That's up to you how you break it up. All right, 320. So that was hatching, everything going into parallel. So cross hatching is crossed lines to build value. Very self-explanatory. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, and 320. What you're going to do is you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I did 3 in one direction, 2 the other. When we get to 10, it gets a little easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we go the opposite way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do 20, so 10 in both directions. Then we're going to go to 40, so 20 in each direction. 80 means we're going to try to do 40 in both directions. For 160, we're going to try to do 80 in both directions again. Now when we get to 320, we're going to try to do 160 in both directions, or you can do 80 horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. Now you can see the difference, even though, got a little glue on the table. So even though that these are supposed to be mostly black, you can tell that this is hatching and that this is cross hatching, even in this texture.